This is the most evil episode of Supernanny ever.
You have to do school and keep the kids and be in the house.
And a smile, not just of desperation, but of fear.
Because I don't see that he respects us.
That's how it is every night. You just get to the point where it's like, I can't deal anymore, I don't know.
Hello, you gorgeous donuts. Supernanny is a TV show where Joe Frost goes into homes where children are terrorising their parents. These parents are so desperate for help that they fill in a casting form to welcome a production team and this woman who wears a suit into their homes to help them, to see if Supernanny can actually turn their home lives around. However, in the episode of Supernanny we're going to be breaking down today, this is the first time in the show's history that it isn't the parents asking for help, it's the children. Their home lives have become so unbearable that they're begging Supernanny to come and turn their lives around. And genuinely, this episode is one of the wildest pieces of media that's ever been aired on television. This episode even made Supernanny break down in tears for the first time ever on television. We're going to see if this family can actually turn their lives around, and we're also going to do an update where every member of this family is in 2025 at the end of this video. So get comfy and let's get into it. So the episode begins with the children begging for Supernanny's help. This family is called the Chapmans, and it consists of 2 older sisters, Brittany and Mariah, and 3 younger brothers, Ethan, who is 4, Cole, who is also 4, and Quinn, who is 3. The parents have been busy. Gonna be getting invited to the hospital Christmas party at this point. Their mum is called Sarah and their dad is called Glenn, and they both work full times, quite long hours. Brittany and Mariah tell Supernanny that they're homeschooled, and straight away the alarm bells start going off in your head.
We go to classes that we have online where we can talk to the teacher. We kind of have to teach ourselves.
Sorry, what? You have to teach yourselves in school? What kind of a school's that? Can you imagine just going in your class and your teacher just going, just sort it out yourself, right? There's some triangles on the board. Try and just find X. I cannot be arsed. What's Pythagoras? Just Google it. You not got your phone on you. Oh, where? It's 2025, man. The sisters then say that they have no lives because they have to do absolutely everything in the house.
You have to do school and keep the kids and be in the house. It's crazy.
Bearing in mind these sisters are 17 and 14 and they have to do all of the housework. They have to look after all of the children when the parents are out, and also their studies on top of it. Just the studies alone is stressful enough for anybody that age, never mind everything else. It's almost like the parents are using their older children as like employees but just not paying them, and kind of guilt tripping them with the fact that you have to look after them because it's your family. What, you're not going to look after your little brothers? Wow, you bastards, shame. This is just such an unfair responsibility to put on your kids. Like if you have kids, that's your responsibility to look after them. You can't expect your older children to do this because that wasn't their choice. That's not the reason they've been brought into this world. It's unfair. Yes, every so often babysitting them is fine, but this being their full-time jobs basically at the age of 17 and 14 is out of order. And because of this, they're both severely struggling at school. They're falling behind with all of their lessons because anytime they try and study, their 3 younger brothers just disrupt them constantly because obviously they're like 3 and 4 years old. Brittany says that her dad is no help at all.
Can you please get me a nail clipper and clip his nails?
We want my dad to understand and know what actually goes on and how hard it is for us.
Why don't you get the nail clipper, sir? You've got legs, haven't you? Fuck off your trot, will you? This is the first household that the children probably say this sentence more than the parents. Oh, will you leave us alone? I've been on my feet all day, man. Give us a second. Nobody helps me round this house. Oh my god, that gives us like PTSD flashbacks, that sentence. With the sigh. And Sarah, their mum, just ignores them the entire time and just focuses on building a new business.
The business is more important. We feel really jailed up in this house.
That's wild, starting a new business when you have like 3 kids under the age of 4 and also like 2 girls as well. Starting a business is stressful when you've got no kids. Like, how are you taking on that responsibility? This is crazy. It would be fine if you have childcare in place, but just kind of saying to yourself in your head, oh, well, whilst I'm working, the girls can just sort them. Like, I get that you're trying to build a better future for yourself, like starting a business, being your own boss, but the expense of this is you're ruining your daughter's future. Like, what future have they got ahead of them when they can't focus on their studies and all they've got to focus on is looking after your kids. The show then shows various shots of both Mariah and Brittany, like talking to their friends on the phone, and the friends are like, are you coming out today? And every single time they have to decline because they have to look after their younger brothers. It's said in the show that they literally never go out. They're like prisoners at this point, genuinely. They have no freedom at all. Like, being in prison, at least you get 30 minutes. Go out in the yard, do your own thing. They don't even get that. Christ, if this was me, I'd probably go to prison for some peace.
Me and Mariah are both giving up on school, and we just want us to be happier family and we want to be normal kids.
This is so sad and so selfish from the parents. Like, both of the girls, you can see by just the way they carry themselves, they're really sad. And, you know, there's no happiness in their lives. They have no outlet. They do nothing that they enjoy. Their entire childhood is just being stripped away from them. Like, they've got their entire life ahead of them to have responsibilities. This is the time where they should have the most freedom as possible. And it's such a hard task for Supernanny when she arrives as well, because normally she just has to sort out the behaviour of the children. However, this is such a different dynamic that I don't know if she will be able to help by the end of this episode.
Supernanny, please come help us.
Our family needs it a lot.
Girls, I'm on my way. Just hold on in there.
I mean, they're not going to see this until, you know, after all the filming has finished and the episode is aired, but I get the sentimental part of that, Supernanny, thank you very much. The way that TV was structured when this was shot is so funny. Supernanny then arrives at the Chapman household and meets the family for the first time, and straight away, Sarah, the mom, is on the defensive.
My biggest fear is that she will misinterpret our intention for having the girls helping out with the kids and doing the things that they do.
Misinterpret your intentions. What? Yeah, we actually make them look after our children for 12 hours a day for their benefit. Right? Just preparing them for future life. Thank me later. You're doing this for your benefit. That's the only way here. Stop trying to gaslight me. It's not gonna work, Sarah. I've watched too many TikToks out to combat that, thank you very much. Not even a Bunsen burner can gaslight me. From Sarah's perspective, this must be a little bit weird though. Like, it's the fact they haven't called Supernanny like the kids have. You're straight away gonna have your defensive mode on, I guess, because you know that you're in the wrong from the very start. Even if you haven't done anything wrong, the fact the girls felt like their only option was to ring Supernanny and bring a production crew into your home, that says a lot about you as a mother and father. Supernanny then tells the family to just kind of forget she's there and go about their day as normal. And while she's just observing their behaviour, she sees that the girls are making all of the breakfast for the family. And she also sees like a board of chores, and next to every single chores is both the sisters' names, nobody else. And when Supernanny goes to confront Glenn, the dad, about how much the girls do for the family, you can see that he really doesn't appreciate the work that they put in for everybody here.
I think they should get done more than they do. There's a lot of tension between me and the two of them on that scale right there.
They should do more. What? Is anything good enough for this man? What more can they possibly do? Do you want them to build a treehouse I have no idea what this guy expects from them at this point. They're literally looking after your children. Surely that's enough in itself.
Probably just because this is the way my parents dealt with me.
But do you have good relationships with your parents?
No, not really. My mom was controlling to the nth degree.
This is so interesting to hear Glenn speak like this, and it's weird how he kind of can't see how he's doing the exact same thing as what his parents did to him. Like, he's been so controlling of the girls to the fact that they don't even get to go out with their friends. And he even says himself that he doesn't even speak to his parents. Now, the girls are going to get to a point that Glenn probably got to when he was younger, where he cut himself off from his family. Like, the girls are going to do this to him because he's too controlling. It's just so weird how he can't see this. And I get that this was the way he was brought up, and like, this is just his sole perspective, but it would be nice for him to just have a little bit of empathy for his own daughters. Another thing that's weird is the mom then just leaves and says she won't be back until nighttime.
So you'll be gone right until about 6?
Yep.
Right, okay.
All right. See you later, love. Right. Nice to meet you. Right. You look like a pleasure, love. Right. You look great. Go on, smash your day. Don't worry about your kids. We've got them. All right. Christ. She literally just like goes off and doesn't even take any of the kids with her at all. It's almost like as soon as she leaves that door, she just kind of voids herself of any responsibility for like their safety for the rest of the day. And look, I get having that many kids will be insanely stressful, but you know, if you don't feel like you can manage that stress, then why would you have that many kids? And after this, the kids start kicking off, and then minutes later, the dad just leaves as well.
Within minutes, Glenn left to go off to work. His parents, what's going going off to work and leaving their 17-year-old and...
This is mad. Like, normally it's the kids leaving for school and then the parents, like, you know, just look after their children or, like, sort a babysitter or something. Not the other way around. Why are the parents acting like the kids and the kids are acting like the parents? This is all the wrong way around. And it makes sense why the children rang Supernanny and not the parents. The parents are having a great time here. It's almost like they've got no kids. You can tell that both of the parents kind of just extract themselves from any responsibility on how the younger children are behaving. Like, just before Glenn's about to leave, one of the kids is screaming and he just doesn't really care.
Quinn just had a meltdown.
This is pretty normal.
There's something quite sad about it.
Yeah, that happens every day. Right, not really my responsibility. I don't even know his name. It's my child, is it? Oh, but news to me. Surely as a dad, like, at least, like, calm the child down before you leave. Just, you know, any little thing you can do to help your daughters who are going out of their own way to look after your son. It's so interesting to see how Supernanny observes this as well, because she says that this is the possibly the wildest house she's ever entered.
This is just absurd. This really is. This really is.
And it's just so sad to see these young girls who really just can't control these kids try and calm them down. It's so hard for Supernanny to correct this because, yes, she can, like, give training to the daughters to kind of help them teach the kids to behave better, but it's not their duty. It's not their responsibility to make these kids behave. It's the parents. So there's no point teaching the girls because the girls shouldn't have to do this after Supernanny leaves. So at this moment in time, she literally can't help them. Also, another thing, like, imagine being a parent and you both just leave all of your kids in the house alone with a production crew, this random woman that you've just seen on the TV. Like, how much trust do you have? I would not be leaving my kids alone with them. And again, like, every single time you see a shot of the girls' faces, they just look so sad. Can you imagine how you would feel if you were in their position, like, at their ages as well? It's just really, really rough to see this. I feel bad because I used to, like, get wound up when I'd have to look after me brothers, like, 3 or 4 times a week after I'd been at school. That's nothing on what these girls have to do.
This is crazy, isn't it? There we are, watching these teenage girls. Should this be their concern?
I genuinely think this might be one of the first episodes that Supernanny can't actually turn their lives around, because how are you meant to turn their lives around when the main source of the problem are just not in the house? It's also interesting that both the parents expect the kids to complete all of their schoolwork whilst looking after the children. However, they don't take any of the children to work with them. It's been said that the mum could quite easily bring the children to work with her, or at least 1 or 2 of the kids, to just, like, kind of lessen the load on the daughters. But she doesn't, because that would be too stressful for her. But how is it too stressful for her to bring the kids to work, but it's not too stressful for the girls to complete the work while looking after the kids? It's just hypocritical. Supernanny then sits down with the girls to kind of understand how they're feeling at the moment.
If you turned around and said to me, Joe, I just want to be a teenager, okay, what would that represent for you?
Having a life.
This is so sad, and you can tell it's almost like the parents don't care about them. It's genuinely like the parents are just trying to break them, and every single time they raise a concern to their parents, they just get shut down instantly. So it's definitely not a household that promotes, like, opening up or talking about your feelings. So they're made to just kind of, like, toughen it up.
I've kind of given up trying because I don't see that he respects us. Everything that we do is never good for him. I don't know.
Yeah, this takes the crown for the worst house that Supernanny has ever went in that we've broke down in an episode before. All children want at that age, or any age, is just to feel appreciated by their parents, to know that the parents, like, value them and love them, and these girls just are getting no love in return for all of the hard work they do. Especially, like, them being girls, like, their first, like, interaction with a male is their dad. Their first role model as a male is their dad, and the standard of love that they're used to is going to make some of their future relationships so toxic, in my opinion, because the bare minimum is going to seem like such an amazing thing because of what they're used to. If you couldn't already tell as well, it's important to note that the 3 younger brothers, not to their fault, they're just children, are really badly behaved as well. Like, they're not kids that just kind of, like, go and play by themselves. They require a lot of attention, which obviously just makes everything more stressful for the girls. It's now 4:37 p.m. in the day, and both the girls sit down to talk about what they have to do now after spending all day doing all of the chores and looking after the children.
Let's start the floors. Do the dishes. Sit down, I'll get the books. Come here, Cole.
What is this? What? These girls are like the most productive girls ever, and it's not enough. This is what I imagine being the daughter of one of those like alpha males on TikTok, you know, the ones that wake up at like 3 a.m. and dip their face into like a bowl of freezing cold water. This must be what it's like to be a daughter of someone like that, where no matter how productive you are, it's never good enough. How many ice baths you had today, Brittany? 3? Get out, get back in. Not enough, love. The girls then say if they don't get all of these extra chores done by the time their dad gets back from work, he gets really mad at them. So instantly you can tell that they're in fear of him. Like, it's not even like they respect him. They're just scared of what he's going to do or what he's going to say. Also, the mother told the girls that she would be back at 6 p.m. However, it's now 6:30 and there's no sight of her. She hasn't even rang the girls to say she's going to be late. They literally don't know where she is. So Supernanny makes the girls ring her. And then she doesn't even answer. Like, she's not even acting like a mother at all. If you're made to work a little bit later, that's fine, it happens, but at least just like drop a text to the girls just so they know. Like, you could get back at 9 p.m. and they just wouldn't even know. Again, it's another instance of the kids acting like the parents. Like, why do the kids have to ring the mom to find out when she's going to be home? Normally it's the parents ringing the kids to find out like when they're going to be in for tea. However, the girls are the ones that cook tea. This is all off. I'm getting fuming. I need to calm down. Sarah, the mom, then eventually returns home over an hour late.
Hey, buddy.
Hi, how was your day?
A little busy, as usual.
Did you see the mom's face? That was like an episode of The Office. Yeah, little busy, you know. That was a bombastic side eye with a capital B.
She explained it's not always like this. Half of the week it is. Well, quite frankly, half the week's too much for me if you're having to give your kids fast food.
Yeah, straight away the mum's made so many excuses here. I want to make it clear it's not just the mum's responsibility, it's also the dad's, Glenn. Like, he is nowhere to be seen here. At least the mum's the first one to turn up. It's just the fact the mum is self-employed, so she is able to kind of fit certain things around her schedule, but she just doesn't want to fit looking after her kids into her own work schedule. You are going to see later in this episode where Supernanny actually confronts her about this. But one thing that really does worry us is this is the parents on their best behaviour. They're on television, they're broadcasted to the world, so they're going to be behaving to like the very best they can. So can you imagine what it's like when the cameras aren't there? And even when the mum does return home, you would think that she would take the responsibility of looking after the kids. Well, you thought wrong.
So who's tidying this up?
Me and Brittany.
And these girls are left here to clear up everything.
Where is the parents? How many times I've said it once, I'll say it again. Where are their parents? I get that after a full day of work and you're knackered and you're tired and all you want to do is rest, but it was your decision to have these children. And like, having a child, you don't just make the decision to look after them a couple of days of the week. It's 7 days a week, 24/7. That's what having a child is. That's what being a parent is. However, when the mum does get involved in looking after the children, she kind of just disrupts everything. The girls are looking after 2 of the boys in their bedrooms, trying to calm them down, get them to bed. And the one child the mum's looking after, Quinn, is just kicking off, so she decides to just hide them in the bedroom and just disrupt everything.
Brittany's trying to get Cole down to sleep. And now you've just gone and put...
Like, that's another example of her just, like, not having any responsibility. She's like, fuck it, the sisters will do it. From Sarah's point of view, it just seems like her whole aura, it's like she's just given up. It's like she doesn't even care anymore. It's like, well, if they end up just crying the entire night, that's fine. I literally do not care. Supernanny then asks Brittany if she's okay because she looks really, really sad.
I'm okay now, just sun wave.
No, I'm fine. And I'm looking at her thinking, no, you're not fine. You look pale.
Now, you're going to see later in this episode where Supernanny asks Brittany again, are you okay? And she really, really isn't. These kids really are being overworked and stretched to their absolute maximum here, to the point where they're ill. I honestly think Supernanny has asked these girls if they're okay more times today than their parents have in their entire lives. And whilst the children are still wreaking havoc, kicking off, the mum is just sitting on the sofa.
And where was Mum? Sitting down on the sofa in the sitting room.
That's how it is every night. You just get to the point where it's like, I can't deal anymore. I don't know. I throw a white towel on.
What do you mean you throw in the towel? It's not a boxing match, love. You can't all just go home and get a McDonald's now. You are home, and it's hell. It's absolute hell. This brings us back to that one editor Justin did in a couple of videos ago. The mum's sitting there and it's just fire all around her and she's like, this is fine. And because the mum gives up every night, that responsibility then gets put on the daughters again. So not only do they look after the children all day, they have to look after them all night because the mum can't even look after them for like half an hour to just give them a break. It's 24/7. They are not sisters to these young children. They're acting like parents. I know I'm being really harsh on the mother here, and I will be on the father later in this video when he actually returns home, whenever that is. But it's almost like these parents are treating their children like as if they've got a dog for Christmas and then they're now like bored of looking after them, so they just kind of extract any responsibility for them. One day these lads are going to grow older and watch this back and be like, oh my god, I am so appreciative of having my sisters there, because if they weren't there, I don't know what would be going on. And this is the first time I've ever seen Supernanny cry in one of our episodes.
This is so sad.
Now you know it must be pretty bad if even Supernanny's breaking down in tears. I've never seen her cry before. This woman normally is like just like steel, just like a robot, a baby fixing robot. Mother care, get that in your inventory, okay? It'll be going off the shelves at speed. I think it's just because she knows that these kids have been going through this for years, and it's only like now that she has the power to kind of hopefully help them. I'm still unsure if she will be able to, because this is severely... Supernanny then calls it a day and returns the next morning to put the parents in their place and tell them some home truths.
Spirits here that have been broken, and a smell not just of desperation but of fear.
She definitely thought she was cold saying that. She definitely knew she was going to get clipped up in a TikTok edit. TikTok, edit that. If somebody doesn't make a TikTok edit of me with that as the intro, what are you doing? Do you not want this spotty face on TikTok? Get it done. Right, I've literally just give you a gem of an intro there. Okay, thank us later. Enjoy the 30 views that my face is gonna get you. Supernanny tells the parents that they should be ashamed for the amount of responsibility they give their kids and the fact they take no responsibility themselves. And the entire time she's speaking, Sarah's face is just down to the floor. It's almost like she feels ashamed that, you know, it's like another woman is having to tell her this as a mother. Just quickly, if you haven't already, do consider pressing the subscribe button so you can join the best community on the internet, the donuts. We're trying to get 1 million donuts on this channel. Can we do it? I don't know. I'm really hoping so. So if you want to join us on this journey, press the subscribe button. Do it. She does give an excuse as to why she's always away from home.
When I started my own business, it was with the intent of just having more flexibility than working for someone else. And it exploded.
Sorry, like, I get it, right? You know, starting a business means you don't have to work for someone. Like she says, you possibly could have more flexibility. But a business in its like startup phase is where it needs the most time. It's where you've got the least amount of free time as possible. So why would she think it would be a good idea when the kids are this age to start a business when she can't even look after the kids when she's employed? I know it's easy for me to say that looking in hindsight, but like, it just seems like such a silly decision. Like, who starts a business to feel less stressed? That's the worst thing you can do.
How do I fix them?
Our concern is whether you want it, because at the end of the day, it was your daughters that called me. Because it certainly didn't come from the pair of you.
And that's what I said earlier. I don't actually know if the parents want this situation fixed. Like, we see Sarah crying and she clearly does feel emotional about this. The dad just seems stone cold, as if he doesn't even really care. But like Supernanny just said, they didn't ring. They didn't want help. They're quite happy with not having any responsibility for looking after the children. It's just so interesting that Glenn, the dad, has been completely silent in this conversation so far. He hasn't said a single word. However, when he does eventually speak, he just takes no responsibility for what's going on.
I'm not here during the day. I'm working. I'm gone.
What? So what happens if one of your children goes missing? You're like, well, I wasn't there, so really it just doesn't really concern me. I'm just gonna go back to work. See you later. Thank you very much. Cheers for the call. What? Supernanny then asks the parents what kind of relationship they think they have with their daughters.
Where do you think you're going to be in the next 5 years with your daughters?
Couldn't tell you.
I can. You're going to be nowhere, Glenn.
Even his answers, he's like, well, doesn't really concern me, if I'm honest. Like, you know, he just looks like he can't be arsed. He looks like he just doesn't want to be here. He's like, I don't even see what the issue is here. Like, my kids are they alive? Are they alive? Well, that's the answer to all your questions, Supernanny. Get up, take your blue blazer and piss off. Now, after Supernanny keeps like criticising them, this is the first time in the actual episode we see the parents speak to each other. Like, this is one thing that I've been wondering. They never seem to like interact with each other. It doesn't even look like they love each other. And later on, at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you the exact reason why their chemistry isn't that great. And it kind of explains everything. But Sarah tells Glenn that he needs to stop putting the girls down and he needs to let the girls express themselves and not always say that their opinion is wrong. And Glenn says the only reason he does that is because he wants everyone in the house to respect each other, which just makes zero sense at all. How can anyone have any respect for anyone in this house when they're not allowed to even say one thing that their dad doesn't agree with? This is not a democracy. This is a dictatorship. Oh, cold. That's another one for the TikTok edit. These parents just have zero respect for their daughters, so why should their daughters show them any respect in return? Like, they don't even act like parents, but they expect to be treated like parents, and that's not right. Supernanny then tries to turn the conversation more positive and gives them like a little motivational like pep talk to really instigate some change in this family, and it seems like they're both up for changing, but how long will this last? I'm unsure. Supernanny then goes home and returns the next day to stamp her authority on this family. She gets the dad down and she puts the boot on his neck. The first thing she does is she makes Glenn sit down with his daughters and just put everything on the table and just air everything out.
There's been a lot of poor choices and poor actions on my part, and I'm sorry for that. Clean slate moving forward. Agreed?
Agreed.
Well, this is a great first step. However, if I was the daughters, I would just be thinking, like, are you saying this to us? Or are you saying this to, like, the cameras right now? Like, it's hard to really trust their dad after the years of not trusting him. The real test will be seeing if his behaviour changes when the cameras are gone.
If we're cleaning something or doing something, don't tell us how.
So in 2 quick words, just back off.
Yeah.
Okay?
It is nice to see the dad understanding them, and hopefully he'll break the cycle and not treat his girls like his parents treated him. I'm hoping. Please, Glenn.
What do you need from Dad, Brittany?
I don't feel like you and I are close anymore. I don't feel like I can talk to you if I have a problem.
Surely this has got to make you change your entire way of thinking. Like, imagine being a father and your daughters have just said that to you. That's got to be a soul-destroying moment. Like, if this doesn't make you rethink your behaviour, nothing will. Supernanny then sits down and allocates a 4-hour block where the girls are allowed to study for school. No distractions, no looking after anyone, no chores, just purely learning. It's mental that this wasn't the case before, but here we are. She also tells the parents that somebody in this block of time has got to look after the kids, so who's it going to be?
So who's going to do that?
Mum? Sarah at first was rather hesitant.
But how easy was that? It wasn't like, oh, well, I'll have to see, you know, if I can change stuff around. It was like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. Like, why couldn't you do it before then? That was so easy. It's because you didn't want to. And now you've been caught out. Now you're being made to do it because you're being embarrassed because you didn't before. This is what makes this episode so evil. It's not because they couldn't. It's because they didn't want to. Supernanny then says, after this 4-hour block of time from 4 till 7 o'clock, the boys also need to be looked after because the girls aren't doing it. She asks if the parents want to do that or get a babysitter, and the parents say, oh yeah, we'll just get a babysitter. Like, that easy. Like, why did you not do this in the first place? I genuinely think it's because they wanted to exploit the children as like free childcare and they didn't want to put any money into paying someone to look after their children. Why would they when they can just get their daughters to do it? Again, it just makes this entire episode so dark because the parents aren't protecting the children, they're exploiting them. All of a sudden, when Supernanny is creating this schedule, it's almost like the parents have so much free time for the girls. The dad even says that on the night time he wants an hour block where it's just him and the girls spending time with each other.
Put a slot in here for just Brittany and Mariah time.
Okay, Dad, with the girls.
Now again, that's great that the dad wants that now all of a sudden for some reason. I don't know if it's because of that chat he had and it's made him realise. Hopefully that is the reason. I just hope it's not because he wants to seem like a good dad on camera. I'm just so sceptical here because I really feel like I can see through these parents here and it's almost like they don't actually want to do this. Like, how have they all of a sudden got all this free time where the girls don't have to look after the kids at all? It just makes no sense. From their point of view, and I'm not justifying the behaviour, I'm just trying to get in the mental headspace. I do get that if you're in a rut with something and you've developed bad habits, sometimes it's hard to like get your brain out of that. So if you're used to the girls looking after them like in the most toxic way ever, they just probably proceed with that and just have no empathy towards the girls. But surely as parents, you've got to have put a stop to this ages ago, not now because some random woman on a TV show's telling you to do it. One really nice moment of this episode is when the girls get told that they don't have to look after the kids all day every day from now on with the new schedule. Like the look on their faces is so nice.
So there's enough opportunity here for you girls to go out and do your own thing as well. Teenagers. Oh my God, it's the first time I've seen you girls smile.
I was just about to say that's the first time they've smiled. Look at Brittany, she has teeth. Lord almighty. 22 minutes into this episode, the first time children have smiled. Mariah seems a lot more sceptical. I feel like she doesn't believe that it's going to last past Supernanny leaving the house. Like, she doesn't seem as enthralled by this new schedule. It's almost like, you know, all of the years of the bad habits of the parents, she feels like isn't going to be unwritten in this short period of time. Supernanny then gets the girls and the parents in a room together to discuss who does all of the current chores so she can work out how to change it all. And every single chore that's coming up, the girls basically say they do it. And every single time they say that they do it, the dad is progressively getting angrier and shutting them down more often. And you can see the girls really are terrified of him, and it's almost like his real personality's coming out here.
Because I have been doing it more.
Very last time laundry was done?
No.
She does it all the time when you guys are gone.
Like the dad's face there, he was like, just fucking, you know, just you fucking weird love. Like that was a scary look he gave them, but he knew he couldn't act out because he's on camera. It was just one of those looks. Over folding clothes, like literally not a problem at all. Something so chill, and he's getting angry about it. So can you imagine when it's actually a stressful situation, how he acts? And because of the stress of arguing with her dad, Brittany starts to feel ill.
Call 911. She just passed out.
What just happened? She literally passed out on the floor, right? Like stone cold, and the dad's just like, there she goes, right? Should get more done in the day if she wasn't always passing out. God, not productive, love. Not my daughter right there. He doesn't even care. Like, your daughter's collapsed in front of you, and you're just standing there like, yeah, well, it's not really my problem though, is it? This is wild.
The body can only take so much before it breaks. So Mum called the doctor, put Brittany in the car and took her there straight away.
And as you can see, like, the dad wasn't involved in any of that. Like, if the mum wasn't there, it was just the dad, he probably just would have went, I'm just gonna go and watch Family Guy. Right, let us know when she wakes up. See you in a bit. And it does just show how stressed Brittany is and how scared she is of her dad. Like, they were just talking about folding laundry, and then when her dad gave her a certain look, she passed out. Like, that's not normal. That's really, really, really odd. And it just makes us think, what goes on when the cameras aren't there? I know I keep saying it, but it's true. It is then confirmed to us that the reason Brittany did pass out is because of the stress and the lack of sleep that she's getting. And I don't want to kick our inches down, but every single time she's on camera, she looks absolutely knackered, and rightly so. Moving on, Supernanny then tries to pick the girl's mood up a little bit, so she renovates one of the rooms into the house into like a school working area, like a mini classroom where the kids aren't allowed in, so it's basically their space to focus on their studies, which is a really nice thing because whenever they go in that room, they know it's just for work. Like, if they're studying at the same table, they're usually wiping sick up from or looking after the kids at. It's hard to kind of differentiate in their minds if they're working or they're looking after the kids. So this is a clear space that'll help them improve their grades. And after this, Supernanny then solidifies all of the chores and who's doing them in the house from now on.
Clean the boys' bedroom.
We'll do that.
Yeah? And empty trash.
That's mine. It's like, mom and dad, girls.
Yeah, mate, that's just like every other healthy household. I don't think they're clapping because they think they've got it easy. They're just happy that they haven't got it horrendously anymore. They're not lucky here. They still do a lot more chores than what a lot of kids do in houses. They've still got 7 chores between them. They're still pulling their weight. After giving the family this new structure, Supernanny then leaves for a few days to see how they cope without her and see if they actually stick to the new things she set. I am not confident at all that they will. The show then instantly cuts to Supernanny returning after her little break away from the Chapmans. And I'm not hopeful that they have kept to it because the mom says this straight away.
When Joe returned, I was a little bit fearful, and yet in a good way.
Fearful in a good way? What does that mean? Yeah, I was shitting myself. In a nice way, though. They then sit down and review all of the CCTV footage together. One really nice moment is Glenn teaching Brittany how to drive, and they actually have a little bit of chemistry for the first time. It's like a proper dad and daughter bonding moment. However, Brittany and Sarah haven't been getting on that well.
Can I just go for a quick walk?
Chores done?
Can't vacuum in here until later.
There's stuff all over the floor.
Great, but I did it before and it got messy again.
I mean, she's already done it like an hour ago, and the floor doesn't look too bad. I mean, there might be one or two things on the floor, but it seems like even though the chores of the girls has went down, the mom is making them do the chores they have more often, so it's kind of just pointless in a way. The girls are still working as hard as they were before, and this makes us think it's almost like a power play thing from the mom, like the mom enjoys bossing them around. I think it's also weird that Brittany, as a 17-year-old, has to ask for permission just to go for a short walk around the block to just get some fresh air. The fact she even needs to ask this shows that she's probably feeling a little bit stressed, and with her past of fainting because of stress, I would be like, yeah love, if you need to take a break, go and do it, because your health comes before a little crumb that's on the floor that I could easily just pick up. And if you think that's bad, what's to come in this video footage is even worse.
Dad said it's not going to stay that way after Joe leaves.
Well, it was fun while it lasted.
She doesn't want to accept the schedule.
These daughters are kind of iconic. That is great that they've literally just went in like a private room and went, yeah, did you see Dad literally said that this is not going to stick when Super Daddy leaves? Expose him, drag his ass, drag Glenn's ass down the street for everyone to see, love. That's so spiteful and so manipulative from the parents, because they probably thought they said that off camera and didn't think the girls would actually bring it to the public. I love that they have. They're finally standing up for themselves.
Unless we stop it.
How are we going to? They're just putting on an act for the cameras.
Like, that's really telling that the kids are saying that. They're calling their parents fake. They're saying their parents are only doing this to seem good to everyone else. They don't actually want to be good to their own kids. And that's what I said at the start of this episode. I don't actually think that they want their situation to change, because prior to Supernanny arriving, their lives were kind of great in a way. They were living as if they had no kids. So them having all of these responsibilities that they clearly don't want isn't going to make them happier. So why would they want to change from their point of view? I'm not saying that's right. I'm just trying to speak from their non-empathetic perspectives.
This is not a free pass for them to just walk all over us either.
Like, why would you look at it in that way at all? Like, if anything, these girls deserve a free pass for a little bit, but they're not acting like it's a free pass. They've still got loads of chores to do. You can tell the parents, for some reason, are taking this personally, as if this is a personal attack against them, when in reality, you're just doing what you're supposed to do. This is so infuriating to watch. It's so hard to be impartial here. Supernanny then says that she doesn't feel like she's getting through to this family, so she sets up a communicational exercise. She basically takes them all to the forest and makes them do activities together where they basically need to talk and work together to complete the challenges. And they have a lot of fun. They do really well. They work together. They complete all of the things they're meant to complete. However, I just don't feel like this is really going to help them. It reminds us of the last Supernanny episode we did, where there was like a trust exercise and the dad had to catch the mom to show the mom could trust the dad. Like, it's all well and good doing these mental exercises, but in reality, nothing really translates into the everyday life of the kids. When the parents are stressed with work or stressed with the kids, they're just going to resort to giving the responsibility of looking after the boys back to the girls. They're not even going to think of this forest challenge they've just done. However, Supernanny seems really happy with the progress she's made with the family. She then makes Sarah read the kids a good night story before they go to bed.
This family do have the tools in place, so with me now leaving, I just hope they continue.
I hate to be critical of Supernanny. I feel like she's actually done a good job here, but I don't feel like they're really in a good position for her to leave, really. I don't actually think they have the tools in place like she says they do. I don't know if it's because they ran out of filming time or what, but Supernanny didn't really teach the parents any techniques to look after the children. Like we've seen previously, when the mom is struggling with looking after one of the children, she just kind of throws it in the bedroom and shuts the door. It would have been nice for Supernanny to like do what she does in previous episodes, where she kind of shows them techniques to calm children down. Like, when Sarah and Glenn are stressed, they're just going to resort to their old past bad habits because they don't have the techniques in place to calm them down. And I feel like the girls really can sense that it's going to go back to how it was before, because when Supernanny tells them that she's leaving for the final time, they start breaking down in tears, and it's really sad.
I know you're sad that I'm leaving, but truthfully, how are you feeling about everything?
Okay.
She's not feeling okay. If she was feeling okay about things, she would be happy. She is feeling distraught. She's like, the week that you spent with us was the best week of my life. Can we come and move in with you, please? We'll work on the production team, anything. Anything's better than this.
It's been a tough process, not one that I liked all the way through it. You do what you gotta do to make things right for your family.
What, like looking after your children? That's all that Supernanny's made you do, is just allocate time to looking after your children, and you're saying it's stuff you didn't want it. That says everything! And this is at the end. This is meant to be the good time. The only way I can kind of sympathise with her here is maybe she's lost out on a little bit of money because of the time she normally would be working. She's spent looking after her kids. That's the only way I can kind of see why this might have been really tough for her.
I look up to her, think of her as a hero. She saved our family. Gonna miss her.
That's so sad that the daughter's like speaking like that. Like, she's saying that shows her inspiration. And I know we can have a laugh at these Supernanny episodes and criticise them sometimes, but the reality of it is Supernanny has the power to change children's lives. And in reality, some episodes of this show are actually really great in trying to turn people's lives around. Although I definitely don't agree with a lot of the stuff that happens in Supernanny episodes. I think a lot of it is toxic. There is still some really nice moments to take from it. The show then gives us a short-term update on how the family are doing now that Supernanny has left.
Now we do get to do more stuff as a family. I feel like I can be a regular teenager now, and I'm really hoping that it does stay that way.
Why does it look like someone's got a gun behind the camera? Like, what she's saying is that everything's great and she's happy, but she looks like she's just finished crying. It's almost like she's being made to say these things. It just doesn't sit right with us. So it's made to seem like the family are all like living happily ever after now that Supernanny's helped them. However, I did my own research into finding where they are in 2025 and what actually happened after they appeared on this show, because that contrasts with what the show tells you in the update. So shortly after the episode aired, the Chapmans were actually reported to CPS again. If you don't know what CPS is, that's the Children Protective Services. People had apparently reported them again on the basis of child neglect, so that contrasts with the short-term update the show gave her. But it does show why the girls didn't seem happy in the update, even though they were made to seem like they were. One positive that did come out of the show was that the girls actually started going to school rather than being homeschooled, so they just get that time out the house, away from the kids, because even being homeschooled in the house, they can still hear the kids shout and scream, and it's going to put them off. So it's nice that they get time to interact with other people their age as well, which they never got prior to the show. Now, this is one really interesting thing, and I did mention how it explains why Sarah and Glenn really didn't have that much chemistry on screen. They were in the middle of a divorce when they were filming this episode. However, they decided to put the divorce on hold for the show's sake, I guess. But straight after the episode aired, the divorce was finalised and they went their separate ways. But it does really explain why they only spoke to each other once in the entire episode, and it was when they were alone and made to speak. It's almost like they hated each other's guts, and explains why the overall vibe of the house was so down and dark. And after the divorce was finalised, CPS actually investigated the family to see if any child neglect was going on. However, they found the parents not guilty of anything, and no charges were made against them. Later down the line, both of the parents then got other partners as well. An interesting update from Brittany, she actually joined the armed forces. I wasn't sure if that was just to finally get away from her parents. She was like, anything's better than living here. I'd rather fight in a war than live here. She also had 3 children, which is really nice, because I was worried that her experience of looking after her brothers might have put her off having her own kids, but it's nice that it hasn't. It's also said that now she lives 5 minutes away from her parents, so luckily she hasn't developed the same relationship Glenn had with his parents, even though they were demonstrating the same behaviour. She's still in contact with her dad and mum. Mariah apparently lives in California, and she's doing really well as well. But on the topic of Brittany, if you do want to check out a TikTok, she's done various TikToks talking about her experience on the show.
So one of my videos blew up, and apparently I'm trending on TikTok.
So here's the brief synopsis.
Update. My parents and I still speak. We're okay. I have children. I was in the military. Now I am being a mom. Working as an MA. Busting my butt. Doing that kind of stuff.
Now she seems okay. Obviously, it's really hard to tell if someone's happy from, you know, a short TikTok. But I'm just glad that she's okay. Because her childhood was really, really not a nice one. And it's just good that she's now part of our own family and she can make her own rules, okay? Imagine if she's making her daughters live how then that would be worrying. But I imagine this woman definitely has broken the cycle because she knew how it felt to be in that situation.
So there's a rumor that I'm dead. I'm not dead. I'm very much alive. But you wanted an update, you got it.
I just hope now that people don't give her too much crap. Like, there has been a lot of comments just asking her questions, people who are genuinely interested how she's doing. But I hope she doesn't feel overwhelmed because she didn't really have, you know, she wasn't given consent to be filmed at such a young age. So I hope it hasn't had a detrimental effect on her life moving forward. Because she doesn't deserve that, especially what she's already been through. But yeah, donuts, that is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I love doing these Super Nanny videos. We've got a little series of them now. So if you want to go on a binge watch of them, some of the most iconic episodes that we've broken down, click right here. Go on, right? Spend your whole night doing it. What else have you got to do than watch me react to Super Nanny? Go on. See you later, donuts.